Class 7 History, the Chapter 7, the Making of Regional Cultures. One of the commonest way of describing people is in the terms of the language they speak. When we refer to a person as a Tamil or an Odia, they usually mean that he or she speaks Tamil or Odia and lives in Tamil Nadu and Odisha. We also tend to associate each region with distinctive kind of food, their clothes, pottery, dance, music, and painting. Sometimes we take these identities for granted and assume that they have existed from the time immemorial. However, the frontiers separating regions have evolved over time and in fact are still changing. Also, what we understand as regional cultures today are often the product of complex process of intermixing of local tradition with the ideas from other parts of the subcontinent. Complex culture की बात करते हैं. Regional culture, as we will see, some traditions appear specific to some region, others seem to be similar across region, and yet others derive from older practice in a particular area but take a new form in their other region. The Chiraj and the development of Malayalam. Let us begin by looking at an example of the connection between the language and the region. The Chera kingdom of the Mahodayapuram, who was established in the 9th century in the southwestern part of the peninsula, part of the present-day Kerala. It is likely that Malayalam was spoken in this area. The rulers introduced the Malayalam language and script in their inscription. In fact, this is one of the earliest examples of the use of the regional language in official record in the subcontinent. An early Kerala inscription composed in Malayalam. At the same time, the Cheras also drew upon the Sanskritic tradition. The temple theatre of Kerala, Sanskritic tradition. The temple theatre of Kerala, which is traced to this period, borrowed the stories from the Sanskrit epic. The first literary work in Malayalam, dated to about the 12th century, are directly indebted to Sanskrit. Interestingly enough, a 14th century text called एक 14th century में एक टेक्स्ट लिखा जाता है नाम था लीला तिलकम, dealing with the grammar and the poetry, was composed in Mani Prabhalam, literally diamond and corals, referring to the two languages, Sanskrit and the regional language. Diamond and coral, Sanskrit and regional language. Lali Tilakam. Okay, rulers in the religious tradition. In other regions, regional cultures grew around the religious tradition. The best example of this process is the cult of Jagannath, literally Lord of the world, a name for Vishnu at Puri, Odisha. To date, the local tribal people make the wooden image of the deity, which suggests that the deity was originally a local god, which later identified with Vishnu. The icons of Balbhadra, Subhadra and Jagannath palm leaf manuscript, Odisha. In the 12th century, one of the most important rulers of the Ganga dynasty, Anantavarman, decided to erect a temple of Purushottam Jagannath at Puri. Ganga dynasty, Anantavarman. Subsequently, in 1223, King Anang-Bhim III dedicated his kingdom to the deity and proclaimed himself as a deputy of the god. पहले तो 12th सेंचुरी मतलब 1100 के आसपास अनंतवर्मन ने टेम्पल बनाया था पुरुषोत्तम जगन्नाथ एट पुरी. सब्सिक्वेंटली 1230 में एक नाम थे अनंग भीमा III dedicated his kingdom to the deity and proclaimed himself as a deputy of the god. As the temple gained importance as a center of pilgrimage, his authority in the social and the political matters also increased. All those who conquered Odisha, such as the Mughals and the Marathas and the East India Company, intended to gain control over the temple. They felt that this would make their rule acceptable to the local people. Rajput in a tradition of heroism. In the 19th century, the region that constituted most part of the present-day Rajasthan was called Rajputana by the British rule. While this may suggest that this was an area that was inhabited only or mainly by the Rajputs, this is only partly true. There were several groups who identify themselves as Rajput in many areas of the northern and central India, and of course, there are several peoples other than Rajput who live in Rajasthan. However, the Rajputs are often recognized as constituting to the distinctive culture of Rajasthan. Disciplines Raj Singh of Bikaner. This cultural tradition was closely linked with the ideas and aspirations of our rulers. From about 8th century, most of the present-day state of Rajasthan was ruled by various Rajput families. For example, Prithvi Raj was one such ruler. These rulers cherished the idols of the hero who fought valiantly after choosing the death on the battlefield rather than face defeat. 8 stories about the Rajput heroes were recorded in the poem and the songs, which were recited especially by the trained minstrel. These preserve the memories of the heroes and were expected to inspire others to follow their example. Ordinary people were also attracted by these stories, which often depicted dramatic situations and a range of strong emotions: loyalty, friendship, love, valor, anger. Did women find a place within these stories? Sometimes women are depicted as following their heroic husband in both life and death. There are stories about the practice of sati or the immolation of widows on the funeral pyre of their husband. So those who follow the heroic deal often had to pay for it with their heroic idol often had to pay for it with their lives. Region discussing जम्मू कश्मीर में हिमाचल प्रदेश, शिमला, बीकानेर, राजस्थान लिखा, ऊपर बीकानेर, नीचे जोधपुर है. सबसे ऊपर बीकानेर, जोधपुर, जयपुर, अजमेर, मेवाड़, चित्तौड़गढ़, गुजरात, मध्य प्रदेश, उत्तर प्रदेश में लखनऊ, अवध, उड़ीसा, भुवनेश्वर, कोलकाता, वेस्ट बंगाल, बंकुरा, ढाका. Okay. Beyond regional frontier, the story of a Kathak If heroic tradition can be found in different regions in different forms, the same is true of dance. Let us look at the history of one dance form, Kathak. Now, which represents several parts of the North India. The term Kathak is derived from Katha, word used in Sanskrit and other language for story. The Kathaks were originally a caste of storytellers in temples of North India who embellished their performance with gestures and song. Kathak began evolving into a distinct mode of dance in the 15th and 16th century with the spread of the Bhakti movement. The legends of the Radha Krishna was enacted in the folk tales called Ras Leela, which combined folk dances with the basic gestures of the Kathak storytellers. Under the Mughal emperors and their nobles, the Kathak was performed in the court where it acquired this present-day feature and developed into a form of dance with a distinctive style. Subsequently, it developed into traditions of the gharanas, one in the court of the Rajasthan, Jaipur Gharana, other in Lucknow Gharana. Under the patronage of Wajid Ali Singh, the last Nawab of Awadh, it grew into a major art form by the third quarter of the 19th century. It was firmly entrenched as a dance form not only in these two regions but in the adjoining areas of the present-day Punjab, Haryana, Jammu and Kashmir. Dance class Lakshmana Temple Khajuraho. Bihar and Madhya Pradesh, emphasis was laid on the intricate, rapid footwork, elaborate costume, as well as the enactment of story. The Kathak, like several other cultural practices, was viewed with disfavor by most British administrators in the 19th and the 20th century. However, it survived and continued to be performed by courtesans and was recognized as one of the 6 classical forms of the dance in the country after independence. Classical dance. The question of defining any form as classical is often quite complicated. So, do we define something as classical if it deals with a religious theme, or do we consider it classical because it appears to require a great deal of skill acquired through long years of training? Do we classically deal religious theme, skill training, or is it classical because it is performed according to the rules that are laid down? Variations are not encouraged. These are questions we need to think about. It is worth remembering that many dance forms that are classified as folk also share several characteristics considered of a typical classical form. So while you use the term classical may suggest that these forms are superior, this need not always be related to other dance forms that are recognized as classical. कथक हो गया आपका, फिर कथकली, कुचिपुड़ी, के से 3 हो गए. कथकली केरला में, कुचिपुड़ी आंध्र प्रदेश में, मणिपुरी मणिपुर में, उड़ीसा में, भरतनाट्यम तमिलनाडु में. Painting for patron, the tradition of miniatures. Another tradition that developed in different ways was that of a miniature painting. Miniature, as their very name suggests, are small size painting generally done in watercolor on cloth or paper. The earliest miniature were on palm leaves or wood. Some of the most beautiful of these found in the Western India were used to illustrate the giant task. The Mughal Emperor Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan patronized highly skilled painters who primarily illustrated manuscripts containing historical account and poetry. These were generally painted in different colors and portrayed court scene of a battle or hunting and other aspect of social life. They were often exchanged as gifts and were viewed only by the exclusive view, the emperor and his close associate. Akbar resting during a hunt, Mughal miniature. With the decline of with the decline of the Mughal Empire, many painters moved out of the court of the emerging regional state. As a result, Mughal artistic tastes influenced the regional courts of the Deccan and the Rajput courts of Rajasthan. At the same time, they retained and developed their distinctive characteristic. Portraits of the ruler and the court scene came to be painted following the Mughal example. Besides, themes from the mythology and poetry were also depicted in centers such as Mewar, Jodhpur, Bundi, Kota, Kishangarh. Another region that attracted miniature painting was the Himalayan foothill around the modern-day state of Himachal Pradesh. By the late 17th century, this region had developed a bold and intense style of miniature painting called Basoli. The most popular text to be painted here was Bhanudatta Rashmanjari. राजमंजरी किसने लिखी थी? भानुदत्त ने. Popular text to be painted here was Bhanudat Rajmanjari. Nadir invasion and the conquest of the Delhi in 1739 resulted in the migration of the Mughal artists to the hill to escape the uncertainties of the plain. Hence they found ready patrons, which led to the founding of the Kangra school of painting. By the mid 18th century, the Kangra artists developed a style which breathed a new spirit into a miniature painting. The source of inspiration was the Vaishnavite tradition, soft colors including the cool blues and green, and a lyrical treatment of themes reaching your. Remember that ordinary women and the men painted as well on pot, wall, floor, cloth, works of the art that have occasionally survived, unlike the miniature that have carefully preserved in places for centuries. Closer look of Bengal, the growth of a regional language. As we saw at the outset, we often tend to identify the regions in terms of the language spoken by the people. So we assume that the people in the Bengal always spoke Bengali. However, what is interesting is that while Bengali is now recognized as a language derived from the Sanskrit, early Sanskrit text, mid-first millennium BC suggests that the people of the Bengal did not speak Sanskritic language language. Who then did the new language emerge? From the 3rd century BCE, commercial ties began to develop between the Bengal and the Magar South Bihar, which may have led to the growing influence of the Sanskrit. During the 4th century, the Gupta rulers established political control over the North Bengal and began to settle Brahmins in this area. Thus, the linguistic and the cultural influence from the mid-Ganga valley became stronger. In the 7th century, the Chinese traveler Huan Sang observed that the language related to Sanskrit were in use all over the Bengal. From the 8th century, ये 7th century में आया था. 7th century मतलब 600 के आसपास में ह्यून सांग आया था. From the 8th century, Bengal became the center of the regional kingdom under the Palas. Between the 14th and the 16th century, Bengal was ruled by the sultans who were independent of the rulers in Delhi. 1586. This is a page from the palm leaf manuscript for the earliest Bengali Ramayana. 1586 when Akbar conquered Bengal. It is from 1586 Bengal. It is from the nucleus of the Bengal Suba. While Persian was the language of administration, Bengali developed as a regional language. In fact, by the 15th century, the Bengali group of dialects came to be united by a common literary language based on the spoken language of the western part of the region, now known as West Bengal. Although Bengali is derived from Sanskrit, it passed through the several stages of evolution. Also, a wide range of Sanskrit words derived from a variety of sources, including tribal language, Persian, European language, have become a part of modern Bengali. Early Bengali literature may be divided into two categories: one indented to Sanskrit and another independent of it. The first included translation of the Sanskrit epic, that is Mangal Kavi, literally auspicious poem dealing with the local deities, and the Bhakti literature such as the biographies of the Chaitanya Dev, the leader of the Vaishnavi Bhakti movement. The second includes the Nath literature such as the song of the Nath literature, Mainamati, Gopi Chandra, stories concerning the worship of Dharma Thakur, fairy tales, folk tales, ballad, Dharma Thakur, Mainamati, Gopi Chandra. Mainamati, Gopi Chandra, Dharma Thakur, the Nath for ascetic who engage in a variety of yogi. This particular song, which was often enacted, describe how Mainamati, a queen, encouraged her son Gopichand to adopt the path of asceticism in the face of a variety of obstacles. Dharma Thakur is a popular regional deity, often worshipped in the form of a stone or a piece of god. The texts belonging to the first category are easier to date, as well as several manuscripts have been found indicating that they were composed between the late 15th and the mid 18th century. Those belonging to the second category is separated only and cannot be precisely dated. They were particularly popular in eastern Bengal, where the influence of the Brahmins were relatively weak. Peace in the temple. From the 16th century, people began to migrate in large numbers from the less fertile Western Bengal to the forested and marshy area of the West Bengal, less fertile, into the marshy areas of the southeastern Bengal. As they move eastward, they clear forests and broad land under rice cultivation. Gradually, local communities of Ishafake and the shifting cultivators, often tribals, merged with the new communities of the peasant. This coincided with the establishment of Mughal control over the Bengal, with the capital in the heart of the eastern side. Delta Dhaka officials and the functionaries received land and officials and functionaries received land often set up mosques that serve as a center for religious transformation in these areas. The early settlers saw some modern assurance in the unstable condition of the new settlement. Early settlers थोड़े सब order लेके लाए assurance in unstable condition of the new settlement. These were provided by the community leaders, who also functioned as teachers and adjudicators, and were sometimes ascribed with supernatural powers. People refer to them with affection and respect as Pir, Persian word meaning a spiritual guide. Animism, attribution of living soul to plant, inanimate object, and natural phenomena. The term includes the saint or the Sufis and other religious personalities, daring colonizers and defied soldiers, various Hindus and the Buddhist deities, and even animistic spirit. The culture of Pir became very popular, and the shrines can be found everywhere in Bengal. Bengal also witnessed a temple building spree from the late 15th century, which culminated in the 19th century. The temples and other religious structures were often built by the individuals of the group who were becoming powerful to both demonstrate their power and proclaim their piety. Many of the modest brick and the terracotta temples in Bengal were built with the support of the several low social groups, such as the Kolu oil pressers and the Kolu and Kansari bell metal workers. The coming of the European trading companies created a new economic opportunities. Many families belonging to these social group availed of these. As their social and the economic position improved, they proclaimed their status through the construction of the temple. When local deities, often worshipped in thatched hut in villages, gained the recognition of the Brahmana, as their images began to be hosted in houses and temples, the temple began to copy the double roof, दो roof, जिसे कहते हैं दो चाला or four roof चौचाला structure of the thatch hut. This led to the evolution of the typical Bengali style temple architecture. Chala, do chala, chauchala. In the comparatively more complex four roof structure, four triangular roofs placed on the four walls made to converge on a curved line or a point. The temples were usually built on a square platform. The interior was relatively plain, but the outer wall of many temples were decorated with painting, ornamental tiles, or terracotta tablet. In some temples, particularly in Vishnupur in the Bankura district of West Bengal, such decoration reached a high degree of excellence. Krishna with gopis, terracotta plaque from the Shyam Rai temple, Vishnupur. श्याम राय टेम्पल कहाँ पे? विष्णुपुर. श्याम राय टेम्पल विष्णुपुर. श्याम राय टेम्पल विष्णुपुर. श्याम विष्णुपुर. Fish being dressed for domestic consumption. Terracotta plaque from the Vishal Lakshmi Temple, Arambagh. Fish as potato ethnic food habits are generally based on the locally available items. Whole Bengal is a riverine plate which produces plenty of rice and the fish. And understandably, these two items figure predominantly on the menu of even poor Bengali. Fishing has always been an important occupation, and the Bengali literature contains several references to the fish. What is more, terracotta plate on the walls of the temples and the viharas depict the scenes of the fish being dressed and taken to the market in the basket. Brahmanas were not allowed to eat non-vegetarian food, but the popularity of fish in the local diet made the Brahmanical authority relax this prohibition for the Bengal Brahman. The Brihad Dharma Purana, a 13th century Sanskrit text from Bengal, permitted the local Brahman to eat certain variety of fish. Brihad Dharma. Thank you.